Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS2 News at 5 p.m.
Breaking news on the Holy Fire. It has just grown dramatically, and mandatory evacuations were just posted for 8 neighborhoods. Late today, deputies revealed the fire was set by an arsonist, and he is now under arrest. And health alerts are now up for huge portions of Southern California. Thick smoke is blanketing the Inland Empire and our mountains.
And here are those neighborhoods with mandatory evacuations at this hour, all in Riverside County in the foothills of the Santa Ana Mountains. McVickers Canyon, Bryce Canyon, Horse Thief Canyon, Glen Eden Canyon, El Carrizo Village, Sycamore Creek, Rancho Capistrano, and the Ortega Highway corridor from the Lookout Restaurant to the Nichols Institute. We have live team coverage with Michelle Gili on the arrest.
And Nicole Comstock on the fire and the evacuations. And let's begin with Nicole.
Pat, we're in the McVicker Canyon Park neighborhood right now, which is also under mandatory evacuation. And we wanted to show you that there aren't many cars in the driveway anymore because a lot of people looked up at this wall of fire burning toward their neighborhood and they got out of here. Now, we also want to give you some perspective on how much ground the Holy Fire would have to cover to get down here to this neighborhood. So we want to slowly swing over to the left of those flames right now to show you this thick line of fire retardant that aircraft have already dropped pretty much all the way around this neighborhood to show you that you do have a pretty decent line of defense out here. Aircraft hitting the Lake Elsinore area hard, blanketing the steep terrain behind these houses with fire retardant. The Holy Fire burned dangerously close to these homes in Rice Canyon and McVickers Wednesday. This just moments after the Cleveland National Forest ordered mandatory evacuations in parts of Riverside County.
It's scary when it hits this close to home.
Jose Silva monitored the firefight from his Arbor Hills neighborhood and packed his car with essentials.
My clothes, dog stuff.
He prepared to evacuate after watching the Holy Fire blaze a new trail toward his neighborhood.
The fire's picked up a lot. It's wind shifted a lot.
It's getting bad here.
Daniel Castorina's daughter called and told him to evacuate. She was worried about the Army veteran and his wife making it to a safe place.
You know, I'm already packed, but I'm just going to maybe take her to the VFW.
People living in the Horse Thief Canyon neighborhood in Corona were also forced to leave. Structure protection crews waited there on standby as flames shot up into view from the 15.
It's much closer today.
Kelly Akins packed up his RV and waited to leave until these intense flames crept down the canyon closer to his home, knowing that fire crews were stretched thin between Orange and Riverside counties.
They're more concerned about what's happening at the southern front of the fire than they are right here.
And what we saw earlier today in the Rice Canyon neighborhood, not too far from here, maybe a couple of miles, is as soon as it looks like the flames are getting too close for comfort and getting really close to these homes, they drop another line of fire retardant and it snuffs out those flames just like that. So if you do live in this neighborhood and you're watching, know that you do have a pretty good line of defense out here already. For now, reporting live in Lake Elsinore, Nicole Comstock, CBS 2 News.
Thanks, Nicole. And the man law enforcement believes started the Holy Fire is now under arrest.
CBS 2 Orange County reporter Michelle Gili is live in Trabuco Canyon right now with more on who they caught. Michelle?
And that is right. We have new video tonight of that man, Forrest Clark, talking about the fire as flames burned around his remote cabin, which is just a couple of miles behind me here down this dirt road. Now, depending on who you talk to, he is either described as nice and religious or angry and unstable. And as a matter of fact, when firefighters first got to this scene on Monday, they say he met them with a machete in his hands.
I'm upset with him right now. I'm really upset. I mean, that it took everything I had.
Suspect Forrest Clark's neighbor in Holy Jim Canyon is talking about the alleged arsonist, her dramatic rescue, and a possible motive for the devastating wildfire that is in its 3rd day.
I have to say I'm not surprised. However, I just feel terrible that this has all gone down. There's a lot of canyon politics, unfortunately, and I don't want to say too much because I don't really know everything, but there was some problems there.
This is Forrest Clark's cabin in Holy Jim Canyon. Officials arrested him here last night. Clark's home is one of just a few in this area that is still left standing. The 51-year-old construction worker is being held on $1 million bail. At a briefing today, officials said the 6,000-acre fire was started near Clark's remote Orange County cabin. Witness statements, according to investigators, and physical evidence link him to the fire.
This is a monster. Who would go out with low humidity and high wind and the highest heat temperatures this time of the year and intentionally set the forest on fire? I suppose if your name has forest in it, maybe that's not relevant to you. The irony here is not lost on me that his name is Forrest Gordon Clark, but he's literally destroyed our forest.
Melody and Tilson Shoemate have known Forrest Clark for years. Melody says neighbors are talking about a threat he made recently about burning the canyon. Deputies have been at Clark's cabin questioning him since the fire started Monday. He talked incoherently about being chased, about his water pressure, and finally about the fire.
I just woke up, dude. I got burned. So I woke up and my stuff was all on fire. I run out and my hoses were disconnected. I got weird water pressure coming up from downstream, upstream. I mean, that's impossible.
Now, those neighbors, the Shoemates, became trapped at one point on Monday, and they had to be airlifted out of this canyon. Forrest Clark is going to make his first court appearance tomorrow, and if he is convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. Live near Holy Jim Canyon, I'm Michelle Geely. Back to you.
Okay, Michelle, thank you. Our team coverage continues from the air.
Let's turn now to Stu Mundell, who is live in Sky 2 over that fire. Stu?
Jeff, Pat, they were talking about those higher temperatures and explosion of fire, and that's what we're actually seeing up here in Sky 2. Take a look at these flames, and to give you a comparison of the size of those fires, there's actually a pickup truck in the center of the screen right there. So that gives you an idea how big these flames are. Now, what we're seeing that's different from Sky 2 this afternoon, besides the firefight continuing out here, the 747, the MD-87, both out here, those are big aircraft dropping Phosgec, is all this smoke. We believe that the higher humidity has actually created a shelf out here as that smoke is getting up in the air there and mixing with that humidity, creating this shelf and actual darkness over some of these communities. That right there is going to be the community of Lake Elsinore. You actually have Lake Elsinore in the shot. Right now the firefight continuing. It's 4,100 acres plus, still only 5% containment. Live in Sky 2 over the Lake Elsinore area, looking at the holy fire, Stu Mundell. Back to you two in the studio.
Thanks, Stu. We do have more on that smoke, that incredible look at the smoke from the holy fire. Sky 2 shot this video over Lake Elsinore this morning, as Stu was mentioning. There is a warning about the air quality around the fire zones, and you can see why.
Well, at least the temperatures have gone down a bit. CBS 2's Garth Kemp is here now with the first look at our forecast. Garth?
Yeah, we brought them down, and then you're getting the sun obscured from those clouds out there, that particulate matter, very, very small, easy to get in your lungs, get your animals inside as well. 91 degrees right now. Winds are calm. We set some records today as we started to get a flow out of the south-southwest. Plus, we had the eddy form, but it was farther offshore, which gave us a northeast vibe, an offshore push by the beach areas. That's allowed things to warm up. 97 San Bernardino, 92 in Burbank, and 93 right now in Van Nuys. There's a change in the temperatures. A lot of this out here from that flow out of the south-southwest, but also being obscured from the clouds or from the smoke of the fire. We hit records. We'll talk about those. We'll show you the rest of the forecast coming up just a few minutes. Jeff, Pat, back to you two.
And don't forget, stay with CBS 2 News for continuing coverage of the holy fire and all the fires burning right now in California. And for those updates anytime, just go to our website, cbsla.com.
Southern California Gas and the state have announced a multi-million-dollar settlement over the biggest methane leak in U.S. history. Lisa Siegel is live in Porter Ranch with details and reaction. Lisa?
A lot of emotions, so many stories. Now behind me is the Aliso Canyon facility at the center of all of this. And while officials say this is a first step forward, others simply don't see it that way at all.
Oh, I'm very angry. I'm very angry.
Sandy Naiman lives in Porter Ranch down the street from the Aliso Canyon gas facility. Before the leak, she dealt with allergies and asthma. After the leak, she says it got much worse.
My sinus passages closed off, and that led to surgery.
But it's the health of her grandkids, who she's been babysitting since before the leak, that terrifies her.
I worry, is the stuff still in the air?
Sandy is one of thousands of people forced from their homes after the massive methane blowout of 2015, when more than 100 tons of natural gas spewed in the air of Porter Ranch and neighboring communities, all from the underground storage facility at Aliso Canyon.
We see this today as a good step forward.
Now, 3 years later, some lawmakers are holding SoCalGas accountable with a $119 million settlement. State Attorney General Javier Becerra says this is a move forward, but makes it clear this does not address
the personal harm and injury and damages that Angelenos suffered as a result of this leak.
The settlement money will fund a long-term health study, continue local air monitoring, and provide air filtration in public schools. SoCalGas says the gas field will also be operated at reduced pressure, providing an added margin of safety. Also in the settlement, continue the methane monitoring program for 8 years, hire an independent safety ombudsman for the same amount of time, and refrain from shifting the cost of the settlement to the ratepayers.
But what really needs to be done is the facility needs to be shut down.
Sandy Naiman feels the same way.
It's just not my health. It's not just my husband's health. It's my grandkids' health.
SoCalGas did issue a statement. It reads, SoCalGas is delivering on our commitment to the governor and the people of California to fully mitigate the methane emissions from the leak at Aliso Canyon facility. Now, I must mention this settlement has absolutely nothing to do with the close to 9,000 people who are part of a class action lawsuit suing SoCalGas. In Porter Ranch, I'm Lisa Siegel, CBS 2 News.
It is back to school time, but in Banning, teachers are on strike. Today, Banning Unified teachers started a 3-day strike, and they're upset about what they call unfair labor practices after working an extra hour a day and not being paid for it. Teachers also say there's no curriculum for that extra hour, and that does not help out the students.
What we're striking for is, to get rid of this extra time, but also to have a say in how this education process is going to work for the students.
As a result, there were substitutes in classrooms for today's first day of school. The district says the instructional time was increased. At one school, the superintendent says the district and the union have been talking about this issue since June and accuses the union of failing to find productive ways to settle that disagreement.
A New York congressman has been indicted on insider trading charges. Chris Collins pleaded not guilty this afternoon after turning himself in to the FBI. Federal prosecutors say he tipped off his son Cameron that a drug trial conducted by an Australian biotech company failed. Collins, his son, and the son's soon-to-be father-in-law allegedly dumped the stock, avoiding over $750,000 in losses. Congressman Collins was on the board of the Australian company. He just announced he will remain on the ballot for re-election despite the indictment. A major bust in L.A. leads to dozens of arrests. Details about the massive drug trafficking ring, plus this.
The new LAUSD superintendent is going door to door, making sure all of the students understand the importance of attendance. I'm Amy Johnson. The story coming up.
Also news of that explosive mudslide, dirt shooting in the air. We'll have that story behind the frightening video.